Hey, I'm Lile! Welcome to Lile's Indie Corner. Today we'll be looking at A Plague Tale Requiem. I know, double A, not indie and stuff, but this started as a smaller game that became a bigger deal over time, and Asobo as a development studio is still independent. And I've been looking forward to this a lot, so I don't want you guys to miss out on one of my favorite titles of this year. Let's dive headfirst into the red pile. First off, this game is gorgeous. Just look at this. I'm so happy they got a bigger budget and decided to expand their color palette. We get more than yellow, orange and brown now. Yay! In all seriousness though, their work is absolutely fantastic. The scenes are breathtaking, the environments are so detailed and really immerse you into this slightly supernatural 15th century setting. And while the game shines with beautiful moments, it definitely does not shy away from the ugly either. If you've played the first game, it will come as no surprise to you that there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of blood and gore on display. Some scenes made me very queasy, and I think it's fair to say that it is at least horror adjacent. And of course I need to mention the rats, the star of the Plague Tale series. It's astonishing how they managed to have so many of these little buggers moving and shaking on screen without your PC dying immediately. They literally come in waves now, it's insane. The only slightly negative thing I can say here is that the facial animations can still look a bit stiff, even in the most emotional scenes. But it didn't really bother me, it was just something I noticed compared to all the gorgeousness on display. But all in all, what an amazing step upward for Asobo in this apartment when compared to the first game. Like Hugo, I would have loved to just stay in these environments and enjoy them. There are a lot of rats in this game, and not only do they swarm your screen with their little black writhing bodies, they will also pierce your ears with their squeaking and screeching. It's unnerving whenever the rats appear. They are loud. Intentionally so, of course. You really feel like they are about to overwhelm you at any moment.
Yeah.
And that is in no small part due to the epic sound design. Every snap of Amicia's sling and every bolt shot from her crossbow feels real. Most of the environmental sound is very unobtrusive though, which is the mark of good sound design. It enhances your immersion without drawing your attention. And then we have to talk about the absolutely incredible music. From the first scene, which starts very serene and calm and then goes into something much more sinister, it is always there to catch you, to prepare you, to make you feel. It supports and enhances the narrative. It gives you clues about the emotional undertone of every single scene. Sometimes very subtly, other times with bombastic and alarming orchestra pieces. It gave me chills more than once, and Olivier Derivière, sorry for totally butchering your name, deserves all the praise in the world for his compositions. He evolved the themes from the first game, especially those centered around Hugo and Amicia, so well, and gave us so much more this time around. And the addition of the Estonian Philharmonic Chamber Choir was... It fits the tone of the story, and I could not be happier with this. If you have played the first game, the gameplay will be very familiar to you. There is still a lot of sneaking, a lot of waiting for guards to move, and a lot of death. Amicia retained most of her old arsenal. Her sling is your best friend from the start, and the tutorial section makes it very clear how useful it still is. Hitting unhelmeted guards in the head is an instant kill, but it is still noisy, so you have to make sure to be out of earshot of any enemies. You also still have the option to distract instead of kill. Just use your hand and throw a stone at some metal. Works every time! Once again, you have access to various alchemical ammunitions. Ignifer, which lights things on fire. Extinguish, which snuffs out flames. Odoris, which attracts rats. And a new one, Tar. You can slow enemies down with it, and if you use Ignifor on it, it makes for a pretty big fiery splash. You can also combine your ammunition with the pots now, which comes in very handy against armored enemies. There are two completely new ways to get rid of enemies though. Amicia has definitely found her inner Amazon and can now kill or incapacitate enemies in melee. You sneak up on a dude, press X, and get a very long and brutal animation of her either shanking someone or hit them over the head with her sling. In general, the game has expanded upon its violence. There are some nasty scenes in here.
Before you lot stole from us!
And she also now gets a crossbow. This weapon is pretty straightforward. You get a bolt, you load it, you shoot, enemy dies. This is very useful against enemies with helmets in particular. You can even put your ammunition on these bolts, so the crossbow is useful in red situations too and can help clear a way. Another pretty significant, and in my opinion very cool, change is that your skills now depend on how you play the game. If you sneak around well and kill as few guards as possible, you upgrade your prudence. If you go in crossbow blazing, you will upgrade your aggressive skill. And if using the environment and your alchemical ammunition is your thing, you will upgrade your opportunism. It's a fun system that works pretty well from my experience. Hugo is still part of the gameplay too. Like towards the end of the first game, his connection to the macula allows him to have some control over the rats. He can see enemies through walls and make rats eat them whenever you want him to. You have to be careful though, because if you use his powers too much, you will stress him to the point of death, so use him sparingly.
What's wrong?
You get all of these skills pretty early on. By the middle of the game, you will have seen it all. And while you do get some companion abilities later on as well, I have to say I preferred the first game's approach of holding back on gameplay elements right up until the end. There was just nothing super surprising anymore, which was a bit of a letdown for me. Speaking of the companions, they are now invisible to the enemies, except for when you send them out to fight specifically, which I much prefer over the first game where enemies catching up with your friends could be quite annoying. They in the way! They are so in the way! It can be a bit immersion breaking though when you see one of your companions running in front of a guard without them reacting at all. I still prefer this approach. All in all, I think the gameplay is what changed the least from the last game. And while I was personally very bad at it... No! I pressed the wrong button! Oh, I can't stab him anymore. Ah, god damn it! I always die. Why can I not play through one section without dying? I liked it well enough not to be bored or super frustrated. Now we get to the real meat of the game. A Plague Tale Requiem is fantastic in its storytelling. The characters are written incredibly well, the story flows naturally, nothing feels too contrived, nothing feels rushed, and everything makes up a whole that is so cohesive I was blown away. I have rarely seen a game that impressed me so much with its writing.
I don't know what's happening to me, Lucas. I feel my mind going.
Yes, because this world hurts. And it keeps hurting. And you want to hurt it back. But it's a fight you cannot win, Amicia. You are not them. You are Darun.
Now, I will not be spoiling anything that was not already in the trailers leading up to the game, so no worries on that front. It has been 6 months since the events of the first game. Hugo, Amicia, Lucas and Beatrice have been on the road looking for a magister to help Hugo get rid of the macula. But of course, the rats do not sleep forever, and soon they will have to face the bite once more. Hugo is convinced that his dreams of a mysterious island will be his salvation.
It's a two-teeth island.
And finding this island becomes their mission soon enough. The basic setup of the game didn't sound as exciting as the Inquisition to me at first, but having played through it, I actually think the main thread was far more interesting and compelling in the end. But like in the last game, the main story took a backseat to the amazing character writing. Every single one of them felt unique and alive.
Let's try. But you'll end up wanting to kill me too.
They had distinct personalities that were intertwined with each other incredibly well. The writers really understood how to craft a story around them and how every story beat affected each character. And while the first game definitely centered more around Amicia and her role as Hugo's protector, and while she is still the protagonist, this is Hugo's story. And I don't want to say too much, but I love this little dude with all of my heart.
Be careful. There might be a spider in there.
I don't think I have ever seen a child written so well in any video game ever. His bursts of joy of the littlest things, his fits of anger, and him taking everything so literally, all contrasted with the immense and scary power that he has. It was so compelling to watch. Both him and Amicia have such dark and tragic journeys, and it is written so well that you feel like it's real, and you feel for them, and with them.
I can't. Oh, please. Please. How am I going to do this?
And that is, of course, in no small part due to the two voice actors, Charlotte McBurney and Logan Hannon, who play Amicia and Hugo respectively. These two make the bond between the siblings come to life in spectacular fashion. Their relationship was already the backbone of the first game, and it is only stronger here. They have to convey so many different emotions, so many different states of the human experience, and they do it with all the skill you could ask for, which I find especially impressive since they are both still so young. Having to do all of these heavy lines in a foreign accent is no small feat, and I want to give them all the praise they deserve.
We save your dream.
Every single cast member brought their all to this game. There wasn't a single performance that fell flat for me. They had an incredible ensemble here. I do want to mention that both Lucas and Beatrice have new voices in this game, which can be a bit jarring if you've just played the first one. I did get used to them pretty quickly, but it was a bit of a disappointment at first. But in the end, they all did a phenomenal job, and it made for an emotional whirlwind that swept me off my feet. This game will stay with me for a long time. It was incredible.
We could stay here. I like it here.
And so there is not much left for me to say other than that I hope you will give this game a chance. If you love well-crafted narrative games and have been looking for something to hook you emotionally, like a Last of Us, get this game. If you like the medieval aesthetic even a little bit and are not against being emotionally destroyed, I promise you will love this.
You're great! That was close.
Special thanks to ZillaBlitz for helping me edit this script. If you like American and Euro Truck Simulator, or if you are into wargaming, please go check him out. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and let's be weird together.